Right, I've gone to the trouble of actually already creating a number plate, bit of a raised edge, just to give us an idea of where to place this. The overall width is 230 by 70. Right, so I'm in the draft workbench now. So what we need to do is we'll first select the surface that we want to put the text on. So we've done that. Then we go up here to utilities, go select plane. Otherwise it would have been drawing on the 0 plane, which is at the bottom or the underside of this number plate, because that's where we started building it. We extruded up by, I've got 2 millimeters. But now that we've selected this plane, that's where it'll draw on. So it's a bit tricky, this. I'll go, so we've selected that. We'll select to do a shape string. Now, I've already got a pre-selected default font that I've set up. You can choose whatever font you want, the same way that you have done in the past, going into the font manager and selecting one. At the moment, I've left it at 10 mil, but we'll see that it will scale up to 20 to fit in here better. As you can see, I think each one of these is 10 mil, so I don't know what I've done with the size, but it doesn't really matter. No, that's right. So I'll now go in and put in the default text here, which is going to be raise, or the string I should say, not default text, raise gopher. Right. Now, where it'll place that is here. So this is minus 194 by 74. This is a nuisance thing that happens when you're in this string editor. It's wherever the cursor is. So if you keep changing the cursor, and when you go off here to do it, then it will use whatever the last point was. I don't know. See, it's gone to 0, snap to 0 there. Because I've got this snap, these blue things, it's got snap to ortho, which is just, so it's doesn't have any angles. It's irrelevant for this. It also has snap to grid. We'll turn that off for the moment, because what I've done is I've aligned this number plate when I've originally made it to be on the center. I did that to make the text centering simpler. So, but it doesn't help if this, every time you move this cursor around, it changes this. So one way to do it is you can reset the point to 0, 0, 0, and then it'll go there. But the problem is it's changed this to 0 on the Z as well. See, whenever you come on here, it's at 2, because that's the working plane, right? So you can either go and reset it and make that 2, or you can come back out here and it goes back to 2, and it looks like 0, 0 until I move. The reason it's gone to 0, 0 is because I've put this on, which is the snap center. It's the only snap, well, I've got this snap on still, but it doesn't make any difference. Snap to center. So when you actually go over this, boonk, there it is. This blue highlighted area, you'll see the little white dot in the middle. That's because that's where it's going to place the text, at that snap point. Doesn't matter whereabouts in this blue object I'd go to, it's going to snap to the middle, to the 0, 0 point, or the center. So while I'm in here, you can press enter, which should then effectively click that OK. It didn't move when I came across here. That's because I already clicked in here. Yes, that's why. I didn't know. Yeah, whenever if I go back to here, well, that is odd. I don't know why that's not moving now. But, okay, it works. So now I can, so it's 0, it says minus 0, but minus 0 is 0, so it's no big deal. And then you click OK. Right. why is raised gopher off to the right? That's because when you click on the shape string, you'll see that the justification is bottom left. So the 0, 0 of that text element is bottom left of whatever you've written. But you can change that. Change it to middle center. And press OK. Now it's taken the coordinates of raised gopher, the center of that, both vertically and horizontally, as the justification, and it's aligned that with that previous alignment of 0, 0. So that's why it's a good thing to have placed the number plate on the 0, 0 coordinates originally. So the center of the number plate's at 0, 0. Okay. Now, with shape strings, they come in under number plate. They're not attached to body, because if you collapse body, you'll see it's still there. What you want to do is drag that into body. Right, and now it's underneath body. So if you collapse body, it's gone, because it's part of the body. You need to do that so that you can extrude it later as part of the body. Right, but the problem is the size, which is what you actually wanted. So this one here, the scale. So I'll click on scale. So you see that again moves around, right? I think if we learnt anything from the last point, we can click on here. Yep, and it snaps to the middle. Now it's not moving. Now, the X factor. Well, let's try 2. Yeah, that's getting close. But the Y, let's go with 3. Is that enough? That's up to you. I'm thinking, ultimately, if you're going to put holes in here, you may want to move this up a little bit and not be aligned with the center. You can do that with the move. But let me see how you go. Maybe you can get the holes not to line up with gopher, or you can do it all in capitals. Maybe that's better. But the key here is, if I were to try, and I just click that off, if I was to try, you don't want uniform scaling because that just makes them both the same, everything the same. You want to do ununiform scaling. So you go back to 3, the Z1, not that Z matters because it can't scale up. So that's about the right size. What you want to do is click on this create clone because you can't actually scale the original text. That's a problem. And if you try to do it, which I'll show you, we'll try this scaling. There you go, you get an error. Unable to scale the object, shape string. This object type cannot be scaled directly. Please use the clone method. Right, so we'll go back, we'll try again. We'll go and do a scale. Again, it's moving around. We'll go here, pick a point anywhere in there because you'll see the little white dot is showing up. There you go. That white dot shows up in the middle because I've got this selected and only this. If you select any of these others, it'll try and find many snap locations. Easier just to have this one. Now, again, we'll go scale of 2 in the X, scale of 3 in the Y, leave 1 in the Z, create a clone. Okay, there we go. What we ended up with is a clone of that shape string, but scaled. So now what we want to do is you want to move that into the body. Now I haven't tried deleting this because this clone is a copy of this. If we do that, the following referenced objects might break the clone, right? So we won't do that and delete it. We'll leave it there because it doesn't bother us. So now, with this one, what we want to do, now that we've brought it into the body, we want to go back to part design and go back to model. This shape string 2D, we want to extrude. It'll take a little while because it's a complicated object. There we go. So if we extrude that by, let's say, 1 mil, there it is. We can hide that one. There we go. There's raised gopher. There we go. Hopefully that explains how to create a number plate. Righto, that's it.